Good morning, children. So, in the last class, while I was explaining in the uh, live class, I told you clearly. So, what is the meaning of the lymphocytes? And so, what is the actually acquired immunity? So, how it is carried out by the special type of the lymphocytes and type of the immunity. So, that is nothing but AMI and CMI. Okay. So let me to recall briefly, then after we will continue the discussion or the study about the lymphocytes. Okay, I told you clearly in the last class, the lymphocytes, they are nothing but they are WBC cells originate from the bone marrow. So out of this one, about 50% of the lymphocytes reach the thymus gland and differentiated into T lymphocytes. They are also known as the T cells, and the remaining 50% of the lymphocytes do not reach thymus gland but differentiated into B lymphocytes. They are also known as the B cells. In addition to B cells and the T cells, there is another group of the lymphocytes. They are also called the natural killer cells or NK cells. Okay, and what about the AMI? AMI is nothing but antibody mediated immunity. Okay, it is also known as antibody mediated response or humoral immunity, isn't it? So that is nothing but the B lymphocytes acts indirectly against antigens by producing antibody. So this is called humoral immunity. Okay, how it functions? The antibodies are carried out, that is carried by the body fluid like blood and lymph, and reacts in various ways to destroy specific antigens. Okay, but they're generally indirectly against the antigens by producing antibodies. What about the cell mediated immunity? It is also known as cellular immunity. Okay, so that can be also asked in the form of the role of T lymphocytes, isn't it? So that is nothing but T lymphocytes acts directly against antigens by attacking themselves to the antigen boring cells. That is nothing but with cell to cell contact is called cellular immunity. Okay, so these are all things we were discussed in the last class only, isn't it? So that is nothing but there have four cells majorly: killer T cells, helper T cells, suppressor T cells, memory T cells. Okay, yeah, so let us continue after these things, because these all things we were discussed in the already last class. So actually how it will functions. Okay, so whenever it is comes to the the cellular mediated immunity, so the rejection of organ transplants like heart, kidney, eyes, liver are due to the generally T lymphocytes. Generally you must have heard about operation is not become success. Okay, even though they performed wonderfully, but they will tell that it is not become success. The reason is clear. The rejection of organ transplants, just now as I said, like heart, kidney, eyes, livers, are due to the T lymphocytes. Okay, so what is happens? See, generally it is very important before they are performing the any surgical operation, they will check. Okay, so the tissue matching, blood group matching, so these are essential for the organ transplantation. Even after tissue typing, okay, so immune suppressant is required before and after the transplantation, because after the performing the particular surgical operations, it will think that our body, our body immune system, whatever it will be containing the T lymphocyte, it will think that it is just like antigens. Okay, whatever the cells which is present in the transplanted tissues containing cells, those will be considered as the antigens, so that it may leads to the destruction due to the hyperantigen antibody reactions. So that's why even after the tissue typing, an immune suppressant is required before and after the transplantation. Okay, so this is very important. and the immune system is able to differentiate self and non-self. Okay, self and non-self, and the cell mediated immune response were responsible for the organ rejections. Okay, so actually in this slide they were given how the antibodies course of the viruses is completely covered by the antibodies, okay, by fixation on the surface of the epitope regions, and the viruses cannot infect the cells. Okay, so when this will be happens, so generally the antibodies, whenever it will cover at the region of the epitopes, so that the viruses cannot further proceeds, so it will be completely surrounded by the antibody. Okay, and so uninfected host cells also be, so they may not able to infect further, so that the tagged viruses is destroyed easily by the neutrophils. Okay, so as I said, see, generally the immune system is able to differentiate, okay, differentiate self and non-self, and the cells mediated immune response were responsible for the organ rejections. So this is actually the number of cases why the surgical operations will become failure. As I said, the rejection of organ transplants is depends upon the due to the T lymphocytes. Okay, so what is the reason? It is the immune response mediated by T lymphocytes. Okay, the body can differentiate self and non-self, and the, so that is what I said, CMI, cell mediated immunity, causes the graft rejection. So then namely it will be considered, even though they perform successfully operation, the patient may not able to survive. Okay, so just observe the slide, the right side, whatever they have given, how it will functions. The T cell makes the contact and releases the granules. Okay, so whenever the viruses infects the host cells, the virus particles will start multiplication inside the, so that is a particular host cell, and MHC, okay, so protein to displaying the viral antigens. The cytotoxic T cells, I told no, the T lymphocytes acts directly against the antigen by attacking themselves to the antigen boring cells. Okay, so and the granules induce cells to cell destructive viruses cannot replicate. So within the cell only, okay, inside the cell only, due to the cellular immunity, it will destroy completely the particular antigens or the viruses. Okay, so this is what as I said just now. So before the organ transplantation, this is very important that the tissue matching and the blood group matching are very essential before undertaking any graft transplant. After this, the patient has to take a particular immunosuppressants, okay, all his life, or else, that's what I said, what will happens, the body will think that the whatever they get, the taken, or the organs are grafted or transplanted, so those cells will be considered as the antigens. Okay, so then they will start the self destructions. To avoid that problem, so generally even after the graft transplantation and before that one also, immune suppressant is required. Okay, it should be given. Okay, see, after this one, so whenever it comes to the acquired types of the the acquired immunity, so they are broadly divided into two types: active immunity and passive immunity. Okay, and after that further again it will be differentiated into active immunity is further divided into natural or artificial immunity. The passive again it will be differentiated into natural and artificial. Okay, let us discuss one by one. So in that one, the first one is active immunity. Okay, so please listen. So only few things which is present in the slide, the remaining things I will explain. Okay, you have to observe clearly and you have to, okay, you have to note down. So when it comes to the active immunity, the resistance built up as a result of body's contact with microbe and their toxins is called active immunity. Okay, what is active immunity? The resistance built up as a result of a body's contact with microbe and their toxins is called active immunity. Okay, and generally it increases resistance against the subsequent infection by the particular microorganisms. Okay, and the production of antibodies takes several days during the first infection, but for a subsequent infection by the same microbes, antibodies are produced immediately to resist the particular infection. And this is because the memory T cells produced in the body during first infection remains for the long time and reacts immediately to enhance the resistance. Okay, so this is the process how exactly it works. Thus, the body builds up active immunity or acquire immunity. Okay, yeah, so this is how exactly it will function. And the transfer of actively formed antibodies from one person to another to build up resistance is called passive immunity. Okay, so this is what I just said, the difference between exactly active and passive immunity. Okay, and in this type the immunity killed or weak bacteria or viruses are injected into the body so that the immune system of the body recognizes these microbes and starts producing antibodies. Generally, 2 or 3 doses are required to achieve the complete immunity is called vaccination. Okay, so by the vaccination it is now possible for the active immunization against the diseases like smallpox, polio, influenza, hepatitis also. Okay, so but the thing is the active immunity, it is a slow process. Okay, it is a slow process, but remember it is the immunity, that means active immunity is the immunity in which antibodies are produced in a host body when the host is exposed to the antigens only. Okay, so but this process is slow. It is produced by two ways, that is natural active immunity and artificial active immunity. What is a natural active immunity? It is developed during natural infection by microbes. Generally, the naturally the children will play in the soil. Okay, so due to the natural exposure of the microbes, they will naturally develops the natural active immunity. But whenever it comes to artificial active immunity, that's what I say, it is developed by injecting microbes deliberately during the immunization. That's what we call vaccination. Okay, yeah, so this is how exactly it will works, the active immunity. So after this one, whenever it comes to the passive immunity, how it will functions. Okay, here ready-made antibodies are directly given to the body. Okay, so again it is of two types, the natural passive immunity and artificial passive immunity. Okay, so natural, again antibodies IgG from mother to placenta, from placenta to the fetus. So antibodies IgA is colostrum. Okay, so it is generally naturally present in the colostrum. So how these infants they will get? By feeding. Okay, by birth only they will get this. But artificial passive immunity, anti-tetanus serums. Okay, so this is how they will give in the form of the vaccination. Remember, the passive immunity, the transfer of actively formed antibodies from one person or animal to another to build up resistance is called passive immunity. Okay, so this is very important because generally they will ask, so which type of the immunity it is transfer, okay, from mother to fetus and to the, so generally placenta. Okay, so that means the passive immunity transfer of antibodies normally takes place between mother and fetus through the placenta. The fetus receives some antibody, that's what I said, IgG, from mother during pregnancy. Okay, so that's why generally especially the doctor suggests to breastfeed, because the breastfeed, children also receives the antibodies through the mother milk. The colostrum, there is a colostrum of the mother, contain abundant antibody, so that to specifically IgA to protect a child. So these are important source of the protection for the baby during first few months of its life. So this is because the antibody producing capacity in the child is very slow in the beginning stages. Okay, if they will provide the mother milk in the beginning, so naturally the babies will get these IgA antibodies. Okay, and as I said, in passive immunization, the antibodies produced in some other vertebrates like horse, cow, in response to a specific antigens are isolated and rejected into human body when they are required. So this is called inoculation. Remember, one mass questions they will ask, what is inoculation? Okay, in passive immunization, antibodies produced in some other vertebrates like horse, cow, in response to a specific antigens are isolated and injected to a human body when they are required. So this is called inoculation. Okay, so preformed antibody or antitoxins injections for specific antigens. Very best example, injection of the antivenom for the snake bites to counter the snake venoms. Okay, so or else they will not survive, they will die. So this is how exactly we can see the differences and the functions, the principle behind the active and passive immunity. Okay, yeah. So after this one, whenever it comes to the vaccination, majorly the vaccination is broadly divided into two types, that is active immunization, okay, and a passive immunization. So there is a slight difference between vaccination and immunization. Okay, so when it comes to the vaccinization, so generally we use the terminology. Okay, so what is vaccinization? An inactivated, or that is weakened, we can also say attenuated or denatured antigenic protein of the pathogens called vaccine. Okay, so this vaccine is introduced into the body to produce antibodies against these antigens to neutralize the pathogens during the actual infection. But what about the immunization? Yeah, it is performed antibodies against the toxin can be given for the quick recover, like preformed antibodies given against the snake bite. Okay, so this is called actually passive immunization. Okay, so but remember, the immunization is based on the memory. Immunization is based on memory of the immune system. So that's what I said, it is majorly divided into two types, active immunization and passive immunization. Okay, yeah. So whenever it comes to the active immunization, it is popularly known as the vaccinization. The vaccination or immunization is based on the property of memory of the immune system. And in vaccinization, antigenic proteins of the inactivated or attenuated, so they are nothing but the weakened pathogens called vaccine, are introduced into the body in the earlier stages, so that the immune system of the individual produces antibodies against that vaccines that is nothing but the antigens. The antigens, so generally whenever it will be introduced in the beginning stages only, the antibodies are produced due to the vaccinization would neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infections. But here the very important, the vaccines also generate memory beta cells, and that is nothing but the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. We can also see memory B cells and T cells that recognizes the pathogens quickly on the subsequent exposure, and they are killed immediately. Okay, but very important one here, the even perform the particular antibodies against the toxins can be given for the quick recover, like perform antibodies given against the snake bite. So this is called passive immunization. Okay, but actually one must, what is the principle behind the vaccinization? So it is a preparation of the vaccines, so is introduced into the body. It results in the development of the antibodies in the earlier stages. Okay, yeah, as I said, the immunization, so the vaccines also generate memory B cells and T cells. They recognize the pathogens quickly. So examples, the polio vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, even DPT. Okay, so these are all why they were given in the early stages. So whenever the actual infection happens in the future, so it is already prepared in our body in the beginning stages, so that they can avoid the further higher damages in the further stages. The vaccines are produced using DNA recombinant DNA technology. Example, hepatitis B vaccine produced from the yeast. Okay, even present whatever they are working on the coronavirus vaccine or the COVID-19 vaccine, same process. Okay, same principle behind all these things. Okay, and here it is very important, it is a direct injection of the pre-formed antibodies or antitoxins. It is required for the quick immune responses, or else they cannot survive. Okay, that is a problem. Immunization against the tetanus and snake venom, why they will be given? To protect the particular infected person from the quick, the within short period of time, as they causes the immediate damage, so they require the already prepared pre-formed antibodies or antitoxins. Okay, yeah. So after this one, we have to discuss about, there is another important topic, allergy. Yesterday also I was discussing about the allergies. Okay, so what is the reason and why it happens? What are the the factors which is responsible for the allergies? Let us discuss. First of all, the question arises, write down, what is allergies? The exaggerated, there is nothing but exaggerated means over. Okay, maximum, the exaggerated, okay, response of the immune system to certain antigen present in the environment is called allergy. Okay, it is the exaggerated response of immune system to the some antigens present are seen in the environment. Okay, so this process is called allergy. Okay, and the substances to which such immune responses is produced is called allergens. Okay, what are allergens? The substances to which such immune response is produced is called allergens. Okay, and I told you in the last class clearly, IgE is produced during the allergic reactions. So what is that exactly? The antibodies produced against the allergens are called IgE. Okay, and the common allergens are generally the dust, pollen, animal dandruff or the dander, the mites in the dust, pollen, Okay, animal dandruff, that is the dander, fur. So there also acts as a allergens. Okay, and common symptoms are sneezing. So generally sneezing, watery eyes, running nose. So these are all some of the common symptoms of the allergy. Okay, and a very important one, allergy is due to release of histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. Okay, so that's what I said. IgE binds on the mast cells to release the chemicals like histamine and serotonin from them. It results in the allergic reactions. Okay, so very important how they will be treated. The drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, and steroid quickly reduces the symptoms of the allergy, or else it may be leads to the hyperantigen and antibody reactions, which may leads to the different type of the problems. Okay, so this is what I said. The symptoms: sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in the breathing, wheezing, skin rashes. So these are some of the symptoms of the allergy. Okay, and determination of the cause of allergy: the patient is exposed to or injected with very small doses of possible allergens, and the reactions is studied in the earlier stages only, so that they can avoid the further allergy. Okay, in the particular environment. Okay, the treatment: the drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, steroids quickly reduces the symptoms of the allergy. Okay, so because there are number of cases, the blockage of the arteries, veins also happens. Okay, so to avoid the further infection, they can treat with the drugs like the antihistamines is a very quick responses. Okay, then asthma, you must have heard about the asthma is a respiratory disorder, the disease due to the allergy only. Okay, so in modern day lifestyle results the lowering of the immunity and the more sensitivity to the allergens. The many children in the metro cities suffer from the allergies and asthma due to the sensitivity to the environment. So this is due to the protected environment provided in the early stage. So that's why even they cannot bear a little dust also. Okay, so because the peoples which is living in the village or the whatever the natural environment, from the beginning stage only they must have exposure with respect to the different type of the allergens. Okay, so that they will be having normal body resistance power against the allergies. But the problem is the children's generally they found in the cosmopolitan cities, they suffer from the allergies and asthma due to the hypersensitivity to that the allergens or the pollutants which is present in the environment. Okay, yeah. So after this one, there is another important topic, that is autoimmunity. Okay, what is this actually? Yeah, you must have heard about our immune system is able to identify self and non-self, isn't it? The memory based acquired immunity able to distinguish foreign molecules or cells, the pathogens from the self cells. But sometimes what happens, sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells. Okay, so this results in the damage to the body cells and is called autoimmune disease. Okay, so very best example, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. Okay, did you got it actually? Yeah, in higher vertebrates, memory based acquired immunity developed, so that is evolved based on the ability to differentiate foreign organism from self cells. But sometimes what happens, due to the genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks, that is a body attacks self cells, results in the damage to the body. It is called autoimmune disease. Okay, so very best example, rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis. So these are all some of the common autoimmune immune disorders are found in the human beings. Okay, so let it be. So today, what are the things we were discussed today? So we were continued with respect to the CMI. Then we were discussed about the active immunity and the passive immunity. Okay, with respect to the role and function, the principle, how it functions, and the vaccination and immunization types of the that is immunity or the immunizations, and the production of the vaccine. Also we were discussed about the allergy as well as the autoimmunity. Okay, so let it be. Next class we will continue further topics. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.